Hi, it's Lisa here and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day. So in today's video I wanted to share with you the pros and cons of living in a van. So our experience is living in a van for a month, but it might be that you're planning to stay in a van for a weekend, maybe a week, or it could be even as long as a year. But I wanted to share with you our reasons and our pros and cons of living in a van. So first up, I'm going to start with the cons, because obviously then we can finish on a high. So I've got my trusty notebook here. I did talk with my husband before this and we both talked about, what we loved about it and what we didn't. Some of these are mine and some of these are both of ours as well. So let's get to it. So number one is bugs. You're not going to be far away from bugs if you're out in the open and you're living in a van. We had an experience with mosquitoes where some actually did get into the van, and I'll link the video up here somewhere which talks about that. But yeah, you're never going to be far away from bugs. You're outside, you'll be cooking outside. There might be wasps, bees, spiders. So if you're not very good with them, then just beware. And number two is the early nights. So we were travelling just at the end of summer, and that meant that the sun was going down about 8 o'clock. Obviously as the time went on it went down quicker, but this means that early nights you have to start prepping your cooking very early. You have to start thinking ahead. We were thinking, right, at 6 o'clock we needed to start prepping, making dinner so that we could eat in time before all the bugs came out. We needed to make sure that we didn't get eaten alive. Number three is cooking restrictive meals or simple meals. Because you're travelling in a van, you might only have a small cooker to deal with. We only had one hob. Some people do have two, but obviously that means being restrictive with what you decide to eat. You can only fit so many things onto those pans at one time. We ended up having a meat dish where we could also cook the onions and say some cabbage at the same time. Occasionally we did a one pot dish as well. But yeah, so you have to be restrictive with your meals. Number four is the toilet facilities. Now, if you are a clean freak, maybe this isn't for you, because some of the toilet facilities aren't very good. A lot of them are very nice, but you have to pick and choose where you go. We had a van where it didn't have a washing facility, so obviously some big motorhomes you'll probably be fine because they have a toilet in them and a shower in them. But if you are like us, we didn't. We had to go to the shower facilities on site. And as I said, sometimes it's not that great. Another point about that is you always have to carry your bag with you. You need to take your towel and your showering stuff, and you always have to take a spare pair of clothes, and then you're changing, and it can get a bit tedious sometimes. Number six is that you have limited space to manoeuvre. So again, if you've got a motorhome, it's probably better for you, but if you have a camper like ours, you can't stand up in it. You have to try and get your trousers on when you're lying flat, and you just cramped and you've got no way to manoeuvre. It becomes like an obstacle course. Actually, you do find out how flexible you really are. I had to make sure that I had to get through the opening, so where the front seats were, and I had to make sure I locked the doors. So that was a challenge every night that I had to look forward to. And number seven is that you may have to get up in the night if you need the toilet facilities. So that's not always very good if it's wet outside and it's cold and you don't want to have to clamber over someone in order to get out to the toilet. So what Dave and I did is we actually made sure we try not to drink too late into the night. So 8 o'clock was kind of a stop off point for having a beer or a wine, and then obviously we'd be going to bed about 10 or 11, which you go to the toilet for the last time, and then hopefully you can last till the morning. So not a great thing to do, but it is one of those things that happen when you're in a camper. So there are 7 of the cons that we came up with, but obviously there are some pros of camper life, so I'll go through those for you as well. And I think the pros do far outweigh the cons. It's just my personal opinion. Number 1 is freedom. When you have a camper van, you can go anywhere you like, obviously within reason, and you could just pick the next spot. It's just so easy to do. You're not at work, it just feels great. You can just go where and when you like. So the freedom is real. It's just amazing to have that freedom in the camper van. And number 2 is linked to number 1, in that because you've got that freedom, you can wake up somewhere new every day if you want. Or if you like somewhere and you want to stay a bit longer, then why not? You can do that as well. We experienced this in Lake Taupo, where we originally stayed for 2 nights, but then we just wanted to stay a bit longer and had an extra night there as well. Number 3 is beautiful scenery. When you're camping, you can go through some beautiful scenery. You can stop off when you want to. You can take pictures. You can have a cup of tea by the roadside if you want. You can then go on and discover more beautiful places. So it's a lot easier. You've got that much manoeuvrability. You can just come and go as you please. Number 4 is having a camper actually makes you become more organised, which I think is a definite pro. Obviously with the freedom, you can go where you want to, but you need to be organised, so you need to be able to plan your trip out. So if you wake up in the morning, you can decide where you want to go, what you want to see. So being organised is a great advantage to have, and I feel that, as I said, it's a pro. So number 6 is actually the cost of living in a van. We probably spent a maximum of $50, that's New Zealand dollars, a night camping, and you can actually camp places for free. I think one of the minimum nights was $20. So between $20 and $50, you get obviously a different class of facilities. One, maybe you just in a field with a toilet and shower, and the top end there was a swimming pool, table tennis, like a little library, laundry facilities. So you can depend, it all depends on how much you want to spend and where you want to go, but it is cost effective and you can save a lot of money in a camper and travelling around. Number 7 is that by camping you actually realise that you need less items than you think. So in everyday living, you've obviously got your belongings that you have every day, but when you're camping, you've only got a limited amount of space. So we were quite happy with 1 saucepan, 1 frying pan to cook dinners. That's all we needed. We only needed a certain amount of clothes to wear. We just wore them for a few days, for a week, and then washed them all at once and then use those ones again. It's pretty simple. So yeah, you realise that you don't need that many items, which is good for minimalism and going that way. Number 8 is being outdoors is good for the soul. Being out in nature, breathing the fresh air, having the sun beat down in your face, it's just different than normal life. I don't know about you, but I have to work in an office, so being outdoors is a huge advantage to me. It's less stressful, it's fun, you can be more creative. It's just overall better feeling than being in the office. Number 9 is that you are closer to nature. So although bugs is obviously a con of travelling, actually being close to nature, you do get to see more birds, you get to see, wildlife. We had ducks that were, coming round us on one of the sites, and then another site that we went to, there was sheep and horses and things like that. So you are close to nature. And the other thing is the starry nights. When you get a cloud-free night, It's so dark because you're away from everywhere, and the amount of stars that you see, it takes your breath away. I wish I could take photos of them, maybe something in the future, but the starry nights are just breathtaking. And number 10 is that life is simpler in a van. You could make it more complicated if you wanted to, but it is simpler. Yes, you can make simple meals, which is good because you don't have to think about like doing this, that and that and the other. You can make simple meals. You get to go to bed early, which is not a bad thing. You can chill out a little bit more. As I said, we used to get in bed early, but that meant that we could read a book, we could catch up, we could video people, we could have a chat. There's lots of different things that you could do. And living in a van is that there's no pressures of daily life. If you get to travel in a van, you're not going to work, you're not having the stress. It's just easy to get up and decide where you're going and just go. And the last one, which I think I forgot, it was probably number 4, is the relationship of the person you're with. So I travelled with my husband, and we've never really been in a van for that long, for that extended period of time, and been close to one another. Obviously we're close anyway, we have a great relationship, but it just gives you that, I suppose it's more of an intense close relationship because you're stuck in the van together, but it actually improves it because you're finding out new things about your partner, and things that you didn't, that you might not have already known. So yeah, I think it's a massive pro being in a van, because you just get to learn more and experience life with hopefully the person that you love, or it could be a friend as well. So there you have it, the pros and cons of living in a van. I hope you've enjoyed it. Maybe there's something that kind of sparks your mind and thinks, actually I don't want to be in a van, or actually I do want to go on a van trip. I highly recommend it. We had such a great time in the van. We've gone to so many places in New Zealand, and we've got the van still, so we can take some trips out and day trips out and do all the things that I've said, that makes us close to nature, gives us that freedom. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got anything that you think is a pro or a con of living in a van, then leave it in the comments below. But please make sure you subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying the videos. Right, I best go then, and I'll see you soon. Bye.